Hey guys, thanks for showing up for this recording today. In today's recording, I will be breaking down building a business that has got a system that you can actually audit when something goes wrong. It's very crucial. What I want to do is to sort of like just walk you over them, and then I'm gonna move behind me on my workstation, and then I will walk you step by step on how to build that system, and I'll also break down each and every process that's going to go through. What is crucial here is to understand exactly how each core stage of this business is crucial to whatever we'll be doing. If you remember very well in our previous video where we looked over at setting goals for your business, looking at a bigger picture, and coming up with an escape route where we put in a strategy that we are going to follow for this business that are going to tie together all the bits and pieces that we're going to discuss in this video. So there should be links below this video, or maybe there should be one popping up here showing you where the video where that first video is. If you're starting a business, the goal is attract customers, retain them, nurture them, and then convert and make a sale so that you can make money. That's why everyone starts a business. But I also mentioned in my first video that if you're going to build a business, you've got to make sure that the business that you're building is based on the fact that you're solving a problem. Because if the business that you're building is not solving a problem or answering somebody's pain point, there is no point in doing it, because it's not gonna make money for you. There are a lot of things that you want to take into consideration when doing this, and the first thing is being a new business. You would notice that very few people would actually know a lot about your business. Use these building blocks to break down resistance and bring in awareness into the marketplace, so that when people are interacting with our brand or our business, they know exactly what we stand for, who our ideal customers are. There are billions of people who are online at the moment. But out of those billions who are spending time online, not everyone is going to be your client, which means you have to niche out and find a group of people who are like-minded. They've got 2 or 3 things in common. They could be dealing with the same problem. They could be people who are harboring the same beliefs, or people who are disposed to sort of like move along with you and sort of like build a community around that, and then provide the solution that you want to do. So you know who your customer is, and we did that by creating a customer avatar in the first place. Now, in today's video, what we want to do is sort of like break down the core building blocks of a process that can harness technologies that we have and resources that we have to provide an enabling environment so that we can build a relationship with our customer. The first building block would be awareness. We are at a building stage of a new business here, and not many people actually know who we are and what we stand for. So it's important for me to make sure that at this awareness stage, the goal is to make sure that you educate your customer, you inform them, and you can only do that unless if you're creating helpful information, packages that your customers can actually interact with, and then they get to know or understand what your brand is all about and what you stand for. So that's the first building block that we would be looking into. There are a number of methodologies that we can use when we are at an awareness stage. One of them is creating blogs. The other one is using video content by creating videos like I'm doing at the moment. Then the other one would be a podcast. Is that not too much work to do at the same time? Of course, But the beauty of this process is the fact that I get to create one piece of content, and once that piece of content is created, then I can sort of like repurpose that piece of content to produce all the other 3 pieces of content. So it might take me a day or two to sort of like come up with all the versions of my content, but at the end of the day, I'm gonna have all the 3 pieces of content produced. I'm sort of like doing this as a case study so that some of you guys can, if you're interested in building your own business, you can watch over my shoulder. These are probably maybe some of the things some guys online are actually charging to share with their audience in a sort of like a membership setting. But what I want to do is sort of like just to open up the the bonnet and show you the engine so that you can see how everything functions behind the scenes. And if there's anything that you can take away from that, make sure you take that and run with it and implement it in your own business. That's the main goal here. So when I've produced a video like I'm doing today, then what I would do is edit that video and publish it today. Then tomorrow the blog post would go up. Then the following day the podcast would go up, which means in a space of 3 days I'm going to have 3 pieces of content coming out every day, and then I'll rinse and repeat the process. But the beauty of this is the fact that if I set up this system properly, then what I can do is get ahead of time and sort of like create a scenario where a piece of content is coming out each and every day. Choose just one method that you can follow, if whether you could create a YouTube channel and produce video each day as you follow along. That's perfectly fine. If you can't do a video, you can do a blog post. That's also still perfectly fine. The only thing here is to make sure that at least you have one method that you can actually follow and make sure that you are consistent with whatever you are doing. And there's a growing number of people who are actually preferring to watch a video over reading a blog post. But that doesn't necessarily mean that there are also other people who would rather read the blog post and not watch a video. There is also a great deal of people who enjoy reading a blog post, following the guides and all the other bits and pieces through a blog post, and implementing those into their business. But also there's a section of people that I want to reach who have no time to sit down and watch a video. They've got no time to read a blog post, but they can actually squeeze in 10-15 minutes in between driving from work to back home, or maybe from home to work, even lunch hour times, to listen to an audio audio version of pieces of content. So if I create these 3 pieces of content, it gives me a wider net that I can sort of like cast over this market that I'm targeting when I'm building my small business. That's the main reason. My only advice: producing one piece of content, and the same piece of content I'm able to extract a blog post, I'm able to extract audio MP3 copy, which can be converted into a podcast. So why not do the same 3 at the same time? It's sort of like batching. When you batch your content creation, you sort of like streamline the whole process, and it becomes a lot easier. It might be challenging for you because you're just getting started, but once you get a hang of it, you'll notice that I think it's one of the most efficient ways of creating content. That has been created, and we are moving on. The second step is an interest stage. So at this particular stage, you would find a group of people who have actually interacted with either your content at an awareness stage, but once they sort of like gone through a moment of discovery, they either they had a problem, but they didn't think that there was a solution that they could apply to the situation that they had, or maybe they knew they had a problem, but they were sort of like sitting on the fence, thinking that probably maybe it's not worth spending time doing what they needed to do to get rid of that problem. And in many cases, you'll find that there are other people who don't even know that they have actually a problem. But once they interact with content that we publish at an awareness stage, remember, this is the stage where we're creating information which is educational, informative, and the main goal at that stage is to make sure that a customer becomes aware of either a need or maybe a benefit of whether it's choosing lifestyle A over lifestyle B. And now once that is done, you sort of like trigger an interest in saying, well, I can do that. And when they know, or when they feel like they can do that, they are at an interest stage now. At this particular stage, they are interested in sort of like either discovering more or maybe finding the best way on how to go about asking for help. So you will notice that at this particular stage, for two people who are at different stages, one at an awareness stage, one at an interest stage, their needs are going to be slightly different. So as a business, I have to be flexible enough to make sure that when somebody walks into my business, they are at the first stage, which is awareness stage. I should be able to sort of like cater to them and provide them with whatever they need to make sure that they get informed, they get the knowledge they need, and graduate into the second stage, which is the interest stage. Now, at this interest stage, my goal as a business owner is to make sure that I provide the resources they need so that they can move on to the third stage. This particular stage, what you want to do is use this stage to build a reputation for yourself, build trust with your clients. This is a stage, I think, where now people who are aware of their problem, they are sort of like looking for people they can trust and people they can partner with so that they can solve the problems they need. The way how we are consuming goods and services at the moment, as consumers today, we want to buy into a brand that we believe and trust. And that could be either for ethical reasons. In this case, let's say, for example, if it's a healthy and beauty business, you want to make sure that the product that you're buying and you're using is not testing on animals. Before you actually even think about selling to them, give them the resources they need so that they can take the next step and become brand ambassadors who can actually go out there and vouch for you when you need them to. But they will only do that unless if they've had an experience with your brand, they've had an experience with your service, and they are happy to say, yes, I can recommend this. That's why there's an explosion in the social business recommended products and stuff like that, using social platforms like Pinterest, Facebook, Instagram, and all sorts of things. Because without these, sort of like ticking these boxes, it's going to be very difficult for you to actually build a brand reputation or maybe even create the brand itself. The best way of doing that is making sure that you are offering opportunities where now, people who are at an interest stage, they are given opportunities to upgrade, that awareness stage to this interest stage. And the best way of doing that is building an email list.